welcome back to my channel. Today is a very exciting video. I have a garden reveal, a garden transformation. So I shared with you all several videos back that my husband was going to be making me my dream garden. So when we moved into this house, there was already some garden beds in our backyard, and I used those for a couple of years and had an amazing gardening success. And I really got into the hobby and really wanted a custom garden. So my garden beds were starting to fall apart. They had just been in the backyard for several years. They were mismatched. And also the backyard was like unlevel. So we definitely just wanted to go ahead and rip those out and do a complete garden transformation. I'm going to be taking you guys through the whole transformation start to finish, and I am so excited that this video is in partnership with Lowe's. I cannot believe it. We have been shopping at Lowe's really since before we even became homeowners. But now that we're homeowners, we're always in Lowe's buying something. We've gotten our lawnmower, our edger, all of our gardening tools, our tool essentials all came from Lowe's. So I'm so excited to get to partner with them in today's video. We got seriously every single thing that you see in this video came from Lowe's. So we're gonna get right into this project. The first stop we're gonna be making is we gotta go to Lowe's, get all of the essentials, all the things we need for this garden transformation. I seriously love these garden pots. How beautiful are these? They were so heavy and gorgeous. As much as I want to continue looking at all of the flowers, all of the vegetables, it is time to pick up the things we need. I needed to pick up some rocks. I loved the rock selection that they had. I ended up going with this bag right here. We also needed to pick up our soil as well, so that way when all of our garden beds are made, we will be able to fill them. So went ahead and picked up some organic soil. We got the soil to fill our garden beds, and we got a lot of sand so that we're able to level out the land. And now it is time for the most important part. We need to get the wood for our custom boxes. So this is the wood I decided on. Make sure that you get untreated wood if you're going to be using it for your vegetable garden, because we're going to be growing food out of this. And then I treated it naturally. So I will leave the link to what I use to treat this wood to keep it food safe. The last thing we have to pick up after getting all of the wood is we need to get some garden tools. We need a shovel, a tamper tool, all of the things to get this land cleared and ready for the garden. So we're gonna have many more trips to go to Lowe's, but I wanted to go ahead and get the bulk of all of the items. We picked up the wood, all of the soil we needed. We needed some tools, so we picked that up as well. So my husband's gonna be making the boxes from scratch using the wood from Lowe's. Now, I do wanna say that Lowe's has a huge variety of some different garden bed options. If you want to go with some that are already kind of made for you, that just need to be assembled, I'm gonna link some of my favorite options down below because they have some good ones. But I really wanted some custom dimensions. So my husband is making me a 4 by 4 feet garden bed, And what's really special about it is he's making them 3 feet tall. I wanted them pretty tall, so that's why we're making them custom. So we went to Lowe's, got all of the wood, and one of the things I love about Lowe's is they cut the wood for you, which was amazing. The only thing that we had to cut was the super large pieces. They weren't able to cut the thick pieces of wood, but all of the wood that we used around the garden bed, they were able to cut, which was amazing. I'm gonna link all of the things that we needed to make our garden beds down below, so if you wanna recreate them, you'll be able to do that. At this point, the garden was really starting to come together once my husband had all 4 of the garden beds made, which he was able to zip through them pretty quickly. He pretty much just did 1 a day. It took a little bit less than an hour per garden bed, and we had 4 of them. Once the garden beds were made was when I really was able to start to envision the garden. So I did take initial measurements of how big I wanted my garden to take up in the backyard, but I did make some changes to it. Once my husband finished the garden beds, I had him move it out into the grass, and I was able to really visualize it. So I ended up making the garden slightly larger than the original plan, and I think it just fits it so well. I pretty much wanted to be able to walk in the center of the garden beds and also the exterior of the garden beds. So I extended it just a slight bit, and we went ahead and taped off all of the areas that we needed to remove the sod, which I think made it a lot easier. So we would know exactly how big the garden was gonna be, how much sod that needed to be removed up. I highly recommend that step because you can measure ahead of time, but you're really not gonna know how everything's gonna look until you have those beds out in the grass. So that's what we did, sectioned off the little area, and then it was time to remove the sod. The most time-consuming process of this garden was definitely removing the sod. It was very tedious, but my husband got it done. Once all of the sod was removed, he then went in with the sand that we bought to level out the land. So he just went around with the leveler, making sure everything was nice and even. And once he had a side leveled, he would just tamper it out because you want the garden beds to sit nice and evenly. You don't want any sinking into the ground anywhere. And then we have to protect these weeds from growing in our garden, so we used an extra thick weed barrier, which I think made a world of a difference. We ended up making another trip to Lowe's. After we had the weed barrier down, I decided I wanted to add some stepping stones. So my husband laid them out, measured them to make sure they're nice and even, and then he did have to dig underneath each stepping stone, so that way it would be into the ground and not shift when you walked on them. He also added this metal border that came from Lowe's, which is absolutely beautiful, and it's gonna prevent the grass from growing into our garden. At this point, the garden was starting to look amazing, you guys. Like, it looked like it was almost complete. I couldn't believe the transformation at this point, but we still have several things to do, and we need to lay the rocks. So we went to Lowe's, and I picked out some really beautiful rocks. I will link the exact ones I used for this project down below, and I really like these rocks. I feel like it really completed the look. I found it a lot easier to pour the bags of rocks in our wheelbarrow and wheel it out in our backyard and then dump it in the garden. That was so much faster versus trying to like cut each bag of rocks and dump it. So highly recommend getting a wheelbarrow because it made our little project so much easier. After we added the rocks, we went ahead and treated all of the wood with our food safe oil conditioner, and I think it gave the garden box a really nice natural shine. And I wanted to line the inside of the beds to make them last a long time. So we had this extra fabric left over from another project, but any gardening fabric will work for this. You really just want to protect the inside of your garden bed since we are going to be adding soil and water and all of the things. After lining all of the garden beds, it was ready for us to start adding the soil, but we had a very exciting delivery from Lowe's get delivered to our doorstep. Definitely check Lowes.com because they have a lot of items that are not in store, like this arch trellis. I think these are going to be perfect in the garden. We are almost ready to start planting. Now it is time to get our garden beds all filled up. Since I did my garden beds 3 feet tall, which is very tall for a garden bed because the old one that I had was just 1 feet tall. If you're having some shorter garden beds, you can definitely skip this step. But if you are building them quite tall, you are going to want to add some fluffing in there so that way you're not just like wasting soil. So we used a ton of cardboard boxes for our first layer, which also helps out a lot with weeds. So that was really good. And then after I got like all of the cardboard boxes added in, we had some lawn trimmings like from our trees and our bushes. So we went ahead and added that, and also some grass clippings, anything that you have that's kind of around your lawn, go ahead and add it in. It's going to give your garden some nutrients, and it's also going to fill it up some. So once we had it kind of about halfway filled, it was time to add the soil. So we got all of our soil from Lowe's. I did a variety of 2 different kinds. I really only needed 1, but ended up going with 2 different bags because I couldn't decide which one I wanted to do. So once we had them, we began to just add them into the garden beds. So excited. It is the day that we are going back to Lowe's, and we are going to go get all of our plants, all of our seeds, all of our things to fill up our brand new garden bed. So let's head back to Lowe's and see what we're going to be gardening with this year. now it is time to get gardening. We just got back from Lowe's and I'm gonna give you guys a little haul. So we picked up a ton of flowers. I just look for flowers that do well in full sun. I also picked up a couple of some sweet banana peppers. We also did a couple of some jalapeno peppers as well. And then I did a variety of flowers. We're also gonna be growing some flowers from seeds, but I really wanted to do flowers this time around because it's a natural way to repel pests. So I got quite a bit. Like I said, I just wanted ones that could do well in full sun. Whatever your garden is, if it's in full sun, try to look for flowers that thrive in full sun, especially with this temperature and heat. And then I picked up some cherry tomatoes that's going to grow up one of the arch trellises, and then some cucumbers that's going to grow on the other arch trellis. And we are ready to just start getting all of these planted so we can go ahead and add our seeds. I picked up quite a bit of seeds from Lowe's as well, which I'll be sharing with you guys. To call my gardening style spontaneous because I definitely do not follow the gardening rules. I just plant where I want and how I want to plant. I don't follow the spacing guidelines. And the last time I grew my vegetable garden, I had an amazing harvest. So I just want to encourage you, do not overthink the process. Our flowers and vegetables planted, it is time to add our seed packs. I got so much seeds, you guys. We're not going to be using all of the seeds I got today, but definitely wanted to get quite a bit planted. So I'm planting some sunflower seeds right here, and then we're going to do some vegetables throughout the garden. I can always add some additional seeds if I find that I have a lot more space, but didn't want to overcrowd our vegetables and flowers, so trying to leave a good amount of space in between each plant. how relaxing gardening is. It is seriously so fun to just be out here in nature. But I did the first garden bed and we're moving on to the second one. For the most part, I did 3 of my garden beds exactly the same. I did a border of some flowers, and then I did the vegetables in the center, added some seeds throughout of some different things that I wanted to grow this season. And then you'll have to see what I did for the very last garden bed. I also decided to do a variety of some fresh herbs in between the flower borders. So I think that's going to be a really good border to kind of repel some pests and then keeping the vegetables in the center. So this is my first time doing it this way. We will see how it turns out. The garden beds are turning out amazing. We have one more to do, and this one's going to be my salad bar. So I did a variety of some different lettuces that thrive in the hotter weather. Now let's take a trip down memory lane. Here's how our garden looked before. Definitely not an enjoyable place to come. And here is how it looks now. And that is my garden transformation, you guys. I cannot believe how this project turned out. The before to the after is just mind-blowing. I seriously love it. I am so thankful to my husband that took on this project to make me my dream garden. It turned out better than I could have ever imagined. And thank you so much to Lowe's for sponsoring this project and making this project possible. I will try to link every single thing that we used for this project, the wood we used for the garden beds, all of the tools, the rocks, all of the things. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Get excited because we're gonna have so much more gardening content on my channel. I'm gonna be giving you guys updates. Since I decided to grow a lot from seeds, I can't wait for things to start to grow in. But give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. I would love it if you would hit that subscribe button and join the family here on my YouTube channel. And I will be seeing you all very soon with a brand new video. Bye.